Deadpool and Wolverine is now the 10th biggest opening for a worldwide box office in the history of cinema. Mark it down, put it in the book, it's knocked The Last Jedi out of its place. But that's not the only place that perhaps we'll see Ryan Reynolds. For you see, it may be that Deadpool and Wolverine are headed for another Marvel meetup, and today we'll tell you why we suspect and spy that that might just come to pass very soon. Hello folks, welcome back to the place that explains entertainment, keeps you ahead of the culture curve. We've got a track record here of scoops, and by golly, we're happy to have it. And I don't know if this one classifies necessarily as a scoop, it's just putting the pieces together. These pieces are very easy to put together, and we have a panel to make it look like it's, well, a piece of cake. Let's get ready, we'll tell you exactly why we think it won't be long. Maybe even just a few years, if that, before you see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman back together again. Let's dive in with the panel right now. So let's talk about brighter things for Marvel right now, and that is that Deadpool and Wolverine, well, it has some serious legs at the box office. Take a look at this. This is out of Deadline right here. Here's what it says. This by Anthony D'Alessandro. Deadpool and Wolverine continue to run away with cash, breaks R-rated box office Monday record at more than $21 million. Marvel pick fired up by $135 million promotional partner campaign. And by the way, when it says $135 million promo partner campaign, that means Disney didn't have to spend. That's $135 million being spent by partners, not by Disney itself. Now, we reported yesterday, and quite the response for this video, that one of the fascinating things is that Deadpool and Wolverine has defeated The Last Jedi, knocking it out of the top 10 for biggest box office openings globally. And so we're very happy to have The Last Jedi knocked out of the top 10. But that was not being reported because about 8 different countries had not yet reported their box offices. And so many media outlets were just pretending as if it had not beat The Last Jedi. And I bet that when it is officially made so, and if you look at the countries, you know that it's going to, but I bet they won't report on it at all. But we'll leave that for where it is. Folks, you can go check out that video when you have time. But here's the Monday, and this is really important because we now have a top 10 global box office debut that is showing tremendous hold. And that means that it could be one of the biggest movies of all time flat out, even though it's an R-rated film. This says, Marvel Studios duo continue to rake in money for what's shaping up to be a $21.5 million plus Monday at the domestic box office, if not more, according to sources. At that level, Deadpool and Wolverine easily ranks as the best Monday ever for an R-rated movie, beating the Monday of 2016's Deadpool, which fell on a President's Day holiday. Wow, beating a holiday with a non-holiday is impressive. Among all Mondays in July right now, Deadpool and Wolverine is shaping up as the 4th best ever, or the 4th best after Spider-Man 2, Barbie, The Dark Knight. Tuesday is bound to be a bountiful day as well for Deadpool and Wolverine. Last year on its Tuesday, Barbie grossed another $26 million, and the reason Tuesdays are sometimes bigger is Tuesdays often tend to be the days on which theaters have their bargain budget opportunities for you to come in for a cheaper price. In addition, we can tell you that the promotional partner campaign for Deadpool and Wolverine was worth $135 million. Doesn't matter to us because that's all free for Disney, so doesn't really impact what we report. The promo partner campaign was spearheaded by Disney SVP Marketing Ryan Stankovich. And I guess Mr. Stankovich has some friends over at Deadline because, again, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But that's the story right here. We've got an interesting operation, Deadpool edition. Anyway, things are going well for Deadpool and Wolverine. And now, with it having this kind of Monday, what you're looking for when you're trying to determine what the hold is going to be for a movie, you wait for that Monday to see how does it perform versus all of the weekend, because you're trying to determine, is it going to be front-loaded or not? This does not appear that it's going to be heavily front-loaded. And for that reason, we can say probably that this is going to be somewhere between a 3X and a 4X now. So I don't think it'll reach 4X hold, but that's putting this in the realm of 1.3 to 1.4 and maybe as high as $1.5 billion overall for its global box office. And that, I would suggest, and panel, you tell me what you think about this, that suggests to me that there's no way Marvel, going back to this RDJ situation, there's no way that they're going to make those movies without having Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in them. This is too much money to pass up at a time when Marvel is floundering in every other way. They're not going to bring back She-Hulk. They're not going to bring back Moon Knight. They're not going to stick the Eternals on the stage. Brie Larson, maybe a cameo, but are you going to spend money on her? No way. So none of this other stuff has worked. So now they have something that works. They're going to have to go with having Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds in these Avengers films. You'll have to do something funny, like every time Deadpool speaks, a bleep sound comes out and he's infuriated by it, but he can't get away from it. You're going to have to do something like that. But I don't see any way to not use these characters any longer, especially if you can team up Hugh Jackman with Tom Holland for Spider-Man. The tricky part of all of this is that if they put these characters up against, ostensibly, although probably not, in continuity, they'll make the change in the character, but people will go into the theater thinking they're taking on RDJ as Doctor Doom. You're talking about a huge amount of expense on getting these actors, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have all the leverage now. So they're going to come in with hefty salaries that you have to pay. Not sure it's going to be 50 to 100 million per movie, but they could garner 40. I don't see why they couldn't. So what do you guys think? Are we getting set up now for huge investments in these characters?
I just want to throw some figures out there. Basically, the last two Avengers films that we're aware of cost $600 million according to UK tax filings. So 1.2 billion altogether. If I had to guess, it was probably, if one of them cost more than the other, it was probably Endgame. I'm going to guess they reshot that one a few times just because of how clunky and messy that one is. Right now, the Russo brothers are getting 40 million per movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars, according to most accounts. And Robert Downey Jr. getting 50 million per movie for each of these, not counting profit incentives. I think he ended up making 75 million on Endgame and Infinity War altogether. So there's a lot of room here for negotiation.
But those numbers out of England don't include above the line. They just don't.
That's what's mentioned. Yeah, it's even low. Those numbers are low.
Yeah.
I also want to point out too that I think you're underestimating the fact that they are going to have to muzzle Ryan Reynolds. I think that Jonas has been pointing this out. They're having Deadpool do raunchy jokes in the theme parks. I don't think that they'll actually have to do that. I don't think that's something that they're going to be worried about. Now, it might not be to the extent that you might see in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I would not be surprised if they definitely have him engaging in his antics that he normally engages in.
Well, they've got to tone it down enough that they don't turn it into an R-rated film, right? So that would be the one thing they care about. They don't really care about much anything else. This is from Jonas. We're not going to play the audio. But, they've got Deadpool in Disneyland making jokes that are probably not appropriate for families. At least that would be how many families would surely feel. So I agree.
One too. So
right. So I agree with you. At the same time, I recognize that they've got to get to be PG-13. So how are they going to do that? Well, they might have to have some kind of comical, bleep, but they're not going to drop more than one F-bomb in a PG-13 film. And folks, we are done. Close it. It's closing time, right? No more time for Marvel, but finish the rest. You know the rest. Anyway, folks, on the way out the door, if you would not mind, be so kind as to share this sucker out on your favorite social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. And we surely do appreciate all of your support of our partner channels, such as That Game Place, That Part Place, That Pod Place, I think I see a pattern, and Vacation Radio. Folks, until the next time we meet, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.